Welcome to the I-80 Club on this Sunday morning. Josh Peterson, Matt McMaster with you for the Week 14 edition of Before the Witching Hour. NFL season, regular season coming to a close, sadly. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Josh. How am I sounding?
You sound like you always sound, in need of a new microphone, but we're doing great.
What are you
I'm ready
talking? Well, it's not my microphone. It's probably in need of a new apartment.
In need of a new, yeah. Well, I didn't mention how it looks, but yes, it is a bit disheveled behind you. But that's Matt. That is a-okay.
Well,
that is a-okay with me.
Let me go like that.
There you go. There we go. Framing. I was wondering if they taught
it
you
is my
framing
bed.
still.
My bed is not made.
Wow, we're off to quite the start here on this.
Look at all my hats.
How are you, man?
I
know that's a pretty cool look. That's a cool setup. I'm gonna do some different stuff in my office. I think for the new year, I got all these marathon posters.
Nice.
You know, and so I'm looking to do something different with what was it? Hey, I'm not bragging. Oh, hey, don't mind me. Just my marathon sweatshirt as well.
There you go.
I'm running a marathon.
You're not bragging, but you have your times up on the marathons.
Well, I mean, it's a cool thing. This company, Tracksmith, they do that for free after races, and so I went there and I got the poster stamp. Look at that. Look at that. 249 in Chicago. That little small one right there, that's Eugene. And you can't see it, but it says 247.10. That's my PR right now. That's my PR.
Well, when did
my PR forever? That was
you ain't running faster than 247.
Come on, bro. That was April of 2024. So we didn't know each other just yet. You were who knows where the hell you were.
247. What? That's essentially 47 minutes, right? So then you ran 26. So you were like
47 minutes. No, that is 167 minutes.
So what? You were what? 652, 653 pace, essentially?
No, I think it was like 623.
Holy shit.
Yeah, 652 pace actually is that one. The first time I broke 3 in Chicago, 259.47. That was pretty much right at a 652. That's that was that
623 for 26 miles.
Yeah. Fuck. Good days. Good times. Good times. Those days are over, I think. But who knows? Who knows? We're not here to talk about running.
Yeah, you're disheveled. You're washed up.
What in the world? What is going on right now? You make me want to root for the Packers today. Welcome in.
Fuck you.
Week 14 before the witching hour. Before we get to the games, Matt sent me the games yesterday. We got 5 games we'll be previewing in the National Football League. Did want to mention this. We have a lot of stuff coming your way on this Sunday, including a Nebraska ball hour. Time TBD, Matt, because Jack was trying to offload the tickets, unable to offload the tickets for Nebraska and Creighton because he wanted to be at home so they could figure out the post-game shenanigans. He will be going to the game. Turn on notifications on the YouTube channel so you don't miss the start of it whenever that thing goes live. It might be going live competing directly with Matt McMaster's show today on 1620 The Zone. So that is coming up later tonight. Also, a Volleyball State episode coming later tonight exclusively for subscribers. Nebraska Ball Hour will be free for all, but the Volleyball State show will only be for subscribers. Emily Amon is going to join Jeff and Lincoln. How about that? Somebody referred to her the other day, Matt, as the Kirk Herbstreit of volleyball coverage. And I was like, that's a pretty good comp.
She was on our show in the beginning of the year. Actually, now that you mention it, we probably should get her on again.
We're getting close to the end of the season, man.
Well, she came on and she was great. And I texted her after. I was like, we'd love to get you on like for the Final Four stuff if Nebraska makes it. She goes, whenever you want, I'll come on. I'm like, beautiful. She's great.
Wow.
She is the face. She's like becoming one of the faces of volleyball.
Yep. So she'll join them later tonight on Volleyball.
And also, too, she's a great interview. Not to pump it up here, but she's awesome. She's super smart. She's really awesome. Good at what she does.
So that'll happen tonight. That episode will start at
7 Northwestern graduate, by the way.
Oh, here we go. That's the only reason you like her. So that's all the stuff that we have coming up in that regard. We would love to have you. Patreon.com/I80Club to get access to everything we do. And if you subscribe to the community tier, you get all of our pods and you get them ad-free in your favorite podcast app. Alex writes, as we kick this thing off, let's go, Joey. Alex in the Joey Packer Hive for today's game. We got 5 games we'll talk about. We will save Packers Bears for the end of the show.
No, I want to do it first. Can we do it first?
Why? Why would we do this game first? It's the biggest game in the NFL.
All right.
Okay. The other game. Settle down, Matt. Eagles Chargers, which is a Monday nighter. Texans Chiefs, which is the Sunday nighter. Steelers Ravens, which is a nooner. But let's begin with Indianapolis and Jacksonville. Indianapolis, Matt. This is a team that I think I might have said this to you last week. I wasn't wrong. I was just early. I feel like my Colts takes are aging very, very well. They are falling apart, not to mention their quarterback's femur is damaged in a terrible way. Yeah. But also he's turned into a pumpkin. It's the end of Cinderella. He is turning into a pumpkin. This is a huge one. 2 8-4 teams. What year is it? 2008? Colts, Jags in a big game where they're combined 16-8.
What? That is a great question, Josh.
David Gerard.
The last time the Jacksonville Jaguars and Indianapolis Colts played like a meaningful December football game.
Dude, seriously, it might be like that 07 to 08, 09 range when Peyton Manning was still good and the Jags were still good.
Even when the Jags had that weird Blake Bortles year, I'm pretty sure that was one of the Andrew Luck is like getting his arm fixed in Turkey years for the Colts. So they
wouldn't have surprised me.
Yeah. We had 2 of those years, I'm pretty sure. Where just Andrew Luck was like he was like Carmen Sandiego. Like we didn't know where he was and what was going on with his.
So that year, 2017, the Jags made the AFC Championship. Before that, the previous year that they had made the playoffs was in 2007. They lost in the divisional round at the undefeated Patriots. That is probably the answer. The last time the Jags and the Colts had a really good, important, meaningful game, and I'll find it now, was in 2007. They were at the Colts, week 13. They lost 28-25. That was, wow, so it was essentially this exact same time of year. So this is the biggest game that these two teams have had in almost 20 years, Matt. 20 years!
Wild. That's a great Lord. Intuitional fact that you found there. I got to keep it honest here. I think the Colts got hurt more so than you being right. Now, I'll give you credit.
Thank you.
After week 8, so week 1 to week 8, Daniel Jones had the second highest EPA in the league and highest QBR in the league against pressure. Okay, and that's why the book on Daniel Jones has essentially been if you get him under pressure, he's what you call him a pumpkin, right? He's just not that
stinky.
Good. Since week 8, he's been in like the late 20s, early 30s in terms of EPA against pressure and QBR against pressure. So it's kind of one of those things where, you know, he was awesome against he essentially solved the one thing that made him bad. Okay. Or one of the things that made him really bad. Right. That's why he looked good. That's why he looked like the guy that was taken in the first round of the first 10 picks by the New York Giants. Also, he looked like the guy that the New York Giants at one point thought could be the future of their franchise. He has now since kind of reverted back to what he's been, leading up to this season. I do still want to say this team's 8-4. Okay. They still have Jonathan Taylor. They're definitely not rolling, and so they've played 6 teams that are.
They're 1-3 in their last 4 games. They're stinking right now.
No, I know, but I'm still like, I know. I'm saying they're not rolling. They're not playing as well as they used to. I still don't think they're terrible. They've played 6 games against teams that are over 500. They're 2-4. The Texans last week. Sauce Gardner. Thank God it was an Achilles and it's a calf injury. But the Texans' defense is awesome. And I think the Texans, and we're going to talk about them later, they might be sneaky. They might be a sneaky Super Bowl team. I mean,
in a wide open year, I don't know why the Texans couldn't go on a run. Yeah, like you said, we'll talk about them later.
So with the Colts, they've come down to earth. I don't think they're bad, though. I don't think they're terrible. I still think they're serviceable. I still think that I don't know if I don't know. It'd be a hot take for me to be like, oh, they're going to win a playoff game because I don't know if I'm that confident in them. But I still think they can win football games. I don't think they're going 8-9 or anything like that. But they've what's the quote in The Big Short? I wasn't wrong. I was just early. Isn't that just the same thing? I think in your case, you're probably just more right. But they could go 10-7. They could still make the playoffs.
Couple
I'm
things.
not
How
out
about this?
on them.
Well, I am. How about this stat for you? Indianapolis has not won in Jacksonville since 2014. That's crazy. That's over a decade now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well,
how about them apples?
what?
That's pretty nuts. Yeah, it's been since 2014. So that means even all the Andrew Luck teams that were solid didn't win in Jacksonville.
But the Jags suck too.
Yeah, well, it's weird down there, man. It's like the humidity and the Florida of it all. It's a very strange place.
That's got to be the longest streak, right? Of not winning.
Good question.
At a certain opponent.
Yeah, that's a really interesting.
That's got to be
for sure.
There. 13 years is so long. Even the Bears beat the Packers in Lambeau last year.
Not to brag.
With
Matt
coach.
Matt Garbage Flus. God,
he was fired. Matt Eberflus was the first head coach in Bears history to be fired mid-season. That's how ass he is.
Yeah, I wish Jerry Jones would move on from him. Jonathan Taylor going against the league's top-ranked running defense, that allowing only 82.4 yards per game. How about this? Jonathan Taylor, when they play the Jags in Indy, he's been very good in 3 career games, 546 yards, 4 touchdowns. When he has played in Jacksonville, 172 career rushing yards, no touchdowns in 4 games in Jacksonville. So there's something about the water down there in Florida. Maybe all those Florida men are able to take him out for whatever reason. Well, on the football field, it's just men.
I feel like the Florida women, they kind of get a pass sometimes because of the Florida men, but I don't think they're exempt from being a little crazy.
Hey, I should have scrolled down a little bit further in the ESPN.com story that I was reading. You ready for this? Going back to the start of this discussion. This will be the 49th meeting between the Colts and the Jaguars, and only the 3rd time both teams had entered at least 4 games over 500. The other 2 instances came in Indy in 2005 and 2007. The Colts won both of those matchups with Peyton Manning as quarterback. So you and I, we reverse engineered it, and then the data backs it up. This is the biggest game that these 2 teams have played in almost 20 years.
In 20 years for sure. God, the Jaguars suck. We're never going to have, I just feel like it's one of those things where you don't have to have the conversation of, how bad the Jacksonville Jaguars have been managed.
And they can win this, and they're going to be the favorite. The winner of this game is the favorite to win the AFC South.
Yeah, I mean it's been the defense, man. The Jaguars has been this is so. We hosted the show together, the morning show together.
Shout out
on Friday, and it's one of those things where I said to you, and you agreed with me. So shout out that this is like the year of defenses in the NFL. The Broncos have a great defense. The Texans have a great defense. The Broncos, Texans. What was the other team that's been playing great?
Broncos, Texans.
No. I just had it in my head.
Eagles had before the last couple of weeks.
Anyway, Broncos have been playing great D. The Texans have been playing great D. Seattle. That was the team I was looking for.
Seattle's been pretty good. Known for their great defense, yeah.
Do you know who has the least amount of points per game given up in the last 3 contests?
Would it be the Jacksonville Jaguars?
It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Their defense has
how about them apples?
Awesome. So they've been playing better. Their offense, too, has picked it up. They're 2nd in points per game in the last 3 contests. Trevor Lawrence has had a very, if you told me that the Jaguars were 8-4 and they were very much in control of, their own destiny in the AFC South, I would tell you, whoa, Trevor Lawrence, he figured it out. He's, awesome. No. He's doing it,
He's having the most Trevor Lawrence season possible, man.
Isn't that crazy, though? Okay, so, let's go back and say that sentence again. He's having the most Trevor Lawrence
season possible, yeah.
The reason why that's so funny to me and interesting to me is that, he was called, the greatest quarterback prospect, ever.
Correct.
Oh, my God. God made Trevor Lawrence.
Honestly, wasn't he called the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck? Wasn't that what the whole bit was when he came into the NFL?
Who was the best NFL prospect since Peyton Manning? Which is the whole funny part of this whole thing. He's 24th in QBR. Trevor Lawrence is 24th in QBR.
My wife's been on this dude for years. She called him out for being mid before anybody else that I heard in terms of a talking head. She was on it in 20. I don't remember what year. She was like, I don't think he's gonna be the quarterback that everybody thought he would.
Do you know he has a better QBR than Trevor Lawrence?
Well, 23 quarterbacks. Well, yikes.
Bryce
well,
Young
I mean, they're pretty.
He has, but we have This is, by the way, and I feel like this goes without saying, but like the inherent bias that we hold against like later round draft picks or guys who don't perform early and all of that stuff, and then like the inherent bias we have for players that we thought were great prospects and they were awesome because people just don't want to be right is kind of crazy. And so it's like Bryce Young did not start off well, and people weren't that. I mean, he was the number 1 overall pick, but it's not like people were as high on him as Trevor Lawrence was. And yet, because we were so high on Trevor Lawrence and we thought he was going to be amazing, we've given him so much more leeway and so much more rope on the leash for him to finally prove that he's like is what we thought he would be, when he really is just mid. He's really just mid. Yeah. He's a mid quarterback. Yeah. He's mid.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He absolutely is. So that's Jaguars Colts. That's one of the nooners that we have in the on this Sunday. There's some really good ones. We're not going to talk in depth about Bengals Bills. I'll just ask you this, Matt, before we move on to our next game, which is going to be Steelers Ravens. Are you buying it all into Cincinnati being like they beat the Ravens and that division is trash? They're in the like exact same position as they were last year, right? Where it's like, oh my gosh, can they go on a run? And they can certainly win some games because they have Joe Burrow, but their defense is just so bad. Even though they didn't play that terribly against Baltimore, you're shaking your head, so you're completely out on this notion.
The defense is bad. The defense has been bad. They haven't been able to figure out. Doesn't matter who they add. Doesn't matter who they pay. Doesn't matter who they hire. Okay. It's not. I feel like in this point of the year, we're in week 13. Like 14. you got. If I care about you, and if I care about you, and I'm going to give you compliments, it's because I think that you're like a championship team, whether it be the AFC Championship or the NFC Championship. I think there's probably like still 15 teams this year that are like, hey, they could maybe win a playoff game or maybe win 2 playoff games. Like there's
Cincinnati not on that esteemed list.
No, God no.
Tough luck.
You can't be ass at defense in football and garner my respect. You can't. And they're ass. They're bad.
Dallas Cowboys have not garnered your respect.
No,
this is sad.
The Cowboys garnered my respect because they were 17th in points allowed per game heading into the Detroit Lions game, and like you guys were.
And now they ain't 17th anymore.
No, what you got here? I mean,
and by the way, that was just in the most recent few weeks. The Cowboys are still down in like 31 or 32. Their defense is trash. All right, fine. That's cool.
The middle of the defense. The middle.
Yeah. Cincinnati, we are out on them, but we are in on this game. Steelers at Ravens. First of 2 meetings, of course, between the division rivals. Both of them sit at 6-6. Both of them coming off of, Matt, incredibly dispiriting losses. Look, I've been out on the Steelers all year. They are not going to beat any of the allegations in my book. The Baltimore Ravens, though, I think that was one where I think it's okay to stick a fork in them and say they are not one of those teams that you just mentioned that can make any sort of noise in the playoffs. They just don't have it this year. And it's not even about their defense and how their defense got off to a slow start again. It's about their offense. Their offense is broken is maybe too hard of a term here, but man, they have just taken a massive step back. I still wonder how healthy Lamar Jackson really is. The running game, which was so dominating last year, is anything but. That game on Thanksgiving night, not a great look for them. That said, I mean, the vibes in Pittsburgh are somehow even worse because they have Aaron Rodgers associated with them, and they have the Mike Tomlin stuff associated with them. Can they go over 500? Will they have another year above 500? Dude, you could make an argument, man. And one of these teams I think will make the playoffs. I think it's going to be the Ravens. You can make an argument. Both franchises, they just need to cut bait and move on and get into a new era. Not that the next coach is going to be better by any means as a guarantee, but you wonder, Matt, Tomlin's been there for almost 20 years. Harbaugh's been there for 15 years? Like things have just gotten a little, no more than that, probably close to 20 years as well. Things have probably just gotten a little stale. And I think it's okay to admit when things have gotten a little bit stale. That said, I'm weirdly excited to watch this game because it'll probably be like a 13-9 slugfest. So I think these two teams are mid as hell, though, and will not challenge for anything in the AFC.
I feel like Cincinnati kind of broke Baltimore's spirit.
Baltimore.
Yeah. That was 32-14, and they got whatever they wanted on the ground. And Joe Burrow didn't really have to be like Superman Joe Burrow to just whoop their ass. And you're right. I think Remember when we were saying that like Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson was like the greatest like running back quarterback duo of all time? Like dude, that was like a thing that was going around. I think it's just, Derrick Henry's old. Derrick Henry's an older guy. And like
honestly, Matt, remember before last season, I think that people were like, well, let's see what happens. He's kind of taking a step back. But then you line him up next to Lamar and it's like, whoa, God.
Whoa, yeah.
But he's not what he was, 5-6 years ago for sure.
And on top of that too, like Lamar, and I tried throwing it out during our like Thanksgiving like episode of like, hey, maybe this is like the start of Lamar's decline. I think he's just, he's probably just having one of those injury years. And by the way, Derrick Henry's still top 10 in rushing in the NFL and still like averaging 4.5 yards per carry. It's old for his standards. He's just not the superstar that they need him to be. And with how much of a slow start this Baltimore defense, began the year with, they needed him to be that, and he hasn't been that. And now, granted, this isn't where, like last year, Baltimore got off to a really slow start on defense, and then like the last 7 weeks of the season, they were like the best unit in the league. That has not happened this year, but they actually have gotten better, and they've gotten healthier, and they've gotten some of those guys back. It's just one of those things where they're just both these teams, I just feel like Baltimore's kind of just a little bit above average, and I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers, their defense has gotten better as the years gone on, but their quarterback can't move in the pocket. Like their quarterback literally can't move. Like he's in a year in a league where mobility within the pocket and your willingness and need for your quarterback to make big plays off schedule has never been higher. They have a quarterback who can't do that in Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Now, it's sad because Aaron Rodgers is probably the original off-script, make something good out of nothing quarterback. Like he was the dawn before Mahomes and everything like that. It was A-Rod, but he's old. I mean, both these teams kind of make a case that they're just old. Like these guys
they're shells of themselves, man. They are shells of what they used to be. They just
exactly.
Speaking of stale, so Jim and O'Neill writes, Tomlin is a good coach. I know you're not saying he isn't, but I feel some people think he's mid. I'd say this, Jim. I do think he is mid now. The guy has not won a playoff game since Barack Obama was still the president of the United States of America. I mean, seriously, it has been that long since he won a playoff game. Like the Dallas Cowboys are kind of propped up as this team that like they make the playoffs and then they absolutely shit the bed. No, the Steelers are that now. They have so think about some of the losses that they had. The Jacksonville Jaguars in 2017. That team with Bortles put up over 40 points in Pittsburgh.
They lost to the Browns in the playoffs.
They lost to the Browns when Baker Mayfield wasn't what Baker Mayfield is now.
To the Browns in the playoffs. And I'm pretty sure they were I'm almost positive Pittsburgh was at home for that game. And they lost to the Browns.
They were. That was the COVID year. I was cackling to myself. I think it was 28-0 at one point in time in the first half. So I think Tomlin is a great floor raiser. I think that it is time for him and them to cut bait and to move on. It is time. What's up?
Okay. I'm with you on Tomlin up until you said he's just a floor raiser. I think that when you say
not just a floor raiser, he is a floor raiser.
Okay.
You don't think he's a floor raiser?
No. Oh, I think he's a little bit more than that. I think he
hasn't been lately.
I think that floor.
How long until we say that this is what he is? It's been 10 years.
Wait. One second. I think floor raiser and game manager, when you call a quarterback a game manager, people think it's inherently negative. And when you call a coach a floor raiser, people might think it's inherently negative. So I got to get off of my skis a little bit. I don't think you're necessarily wrong. But I just hear that, and it's a negative connotation. I'm like, he's better than just raising the floor. But
is he?
I agree with you implicitly in the fact that probably best for both these teams to move on. Probably is.
Yeah.
100%. So Tomlin was hired in 2007. Harbaugh was hired in 2008. 19 years and 18 years, respectfully.
That's a long time.
Too long for you to have a head coach. Okay.
Well, especially when you haven't done any of the things recently,
At some point, it's just like the game moves on. The game evolves. The game changes. Like God, football is so much different now than it was in 2007. It's so much different now than it was in 2018.
Yeah, for sure.
And
dude, like this happened with Don Shula. Don Shula had the undefeated Dolphins. Don Shula then went years without winning playoff games, without having any sort of success.
And it also comes down to this, Josh. It's like when you were successful, like they were incredible. They both won Super Bowls. They both had, the Steelers and Ravens on the top of the AFC, right? Like Steelers and Ravens were really the only ones out, like who could compete with the Colts and the Patriots. They were the only ones who seemed like they could get over the hump in terms of beating the two great quarterbacks in Manning and Brady. And yet, like when you have that success, you don't want to change, the mojo. You don't want to change the recipe. You don't want to do things completely different, right? You kind of want to stay rooted in what made you successful. And I think both those coaches have done that because the Steelers and Ravens have really kind of looked the same in terms of, how they play on defense and how they build their roster. And it's just, the game's changed and sometimes you got to change with it. And I think that both the Ravens and the Steelers front offices probably have done the best job that they can with, managing the situation in the regards of the fact that, like, if you fired Mike Tomlin 3 years ago or you fired John Harbaugh 3 years ago, you'd be like, what are you doing? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, these are winning coaches. These are Super Bowl coaches. These are, this. Now, if you were to fire them now, you'd be like, all right, yeah, it's probably time to move on. And it probably is time to move on. And there's, by the way, it doesn't have to be a negative thing. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, you can, hell of a run.
Jim O'Neill says if he was fired today, someone would fire their head coach, hire him tomorrow. And you know what? That might actually work because, I think
they would.
I think a new like a change of scenery for either of those guys, I think could very much be a good thing. But for whatever reason, I think Harbaugh has had way more success recently than Tomlin has. He's won playoff games. He's made it to the AFC Championship game, right? Like he's had more success. But for whatever reason, their messages that again, stale is just the word that I keep coming back to. So there's absolutely a world where either of those guys goes to a new job and they're reinvigorated and then they turn awesome.
If a Ravens fan told me, why they wanted to keep Harbaugh, I would shake my head and I said, okay, I could be convinced. I could be convinced of a Ravens fan as to why you want to keep Harbaugh.
I don't think I can from the Steelers.
No, I can't.
Yeah. And by the way, if you want 9-8, hey, we're always above 500. Okay, congrats on 9-8.
Jim is right. There are teams that would fire their head coaches and hire Mike Tomlin. And you know what? They probably should, right? Like if we're talking about, like if you told me the Cardinals would fire Gannon and immediately hire Mike Tomlin, I'd be like, I don't blame him. Like I don't blame him. If Mike Tomlin ended up being the coach for the Tennessee Titans and the Titans hired him the day after he got fired, to be like, yeah, like he's still a good coach. It's just, and you're gonna laugh at me, but this is a good point. Like I'm Christian. I'm into religion. And with priest, I'm
not laughing at you being a religion. I just love the setup for it.
Yeah. Priests move every 5 to 7 years, right? Like that is a thing that they do. Like you are, most of the time, right? You're at one parish for 5 to 7 years, and then they say, all right, we're moving you somewhere else. And the reason why is because, your parishioners, like they kind of become a little bit too comfortable with you, and they're like, the message doesn't resonate as much. And sometimes in just Christianity and just in religion in general, you need like different voices to have an impact on what they're trying to communicate to you.
Maybe to challenge you in a different way.
Exactly. I think that's the truth with like sports in general. Sometimes you just need a new voice. Sometimes you just need a different perspective. Sometimes you need, to be challenged again and do things a different way. And I think mainly for the Steelers, they need a new voice. Like they just 100% need a little bit of a new direction.
100%. So that is
it's no offense to Tomlin.
No, it's not. It does. Again, it does not have to be a negative. It does not have to be a negative. It's just stale. The word is stale. So that is the other noon game that we will be keeping a big eye on today. Let's go to the Sunday night affair between the Texans and the Chiefs. I mean, you said it a few minutes ago. I agree with you wholeheartedly. This is a Texans team that I think is absolutely a contender to make the Super Bowl in the AFC. Because of their defense, because their defense is going to be able to travel. They still have a chance, of course, to win the AFC South. They're sitting at 7-5 on the year. So a win tonight, whatever happens, barring a tie in the game between Jacksonville and Indianapolis, they would be one game behind at the very least, the winner of that game. They go into Kansas City. Kansas City currently 10th in the AFC standings. I mean, I know we keep saying it like every week. They lose this game, and you can put a fork in them. You can put a fork in them if they lose because, again, the tiebreakers, they have lost all of them except for who's the one when they have Baltimore. But Baltimore is going to win the division if they make the playoffs. They are not going to make the playoffs as a wild card team. The Chiefs cannot lose this game because they've already lost. Well, and Indianapolis, that's the other one, but let's see what happens with Indy, right? Like they've lost to Jacksonville. They've lost to Buffalo. This would be another loss in that vein. It would be pretty rough for them. This game tonight, Chiefs a short home favorite. It's going to be cold this evening. First time that the Texans have played in cold weather this season. That said, and they're 0-2, by the way, at Arrowhead Stadium both times. That was last year. It was cold in both of those games. I just love the way this defense is playing now, man. I really like how this defense looks. And so I'm going into this game thinking that the Texans are going to be the ones to get it done. And I really think that we're going to wake up tomorrow morning and say the Chiefs are done. You know, barring a 4-0 finish and a crazy bit of luck around the rest of the AFC, I think this is going to be it. That said, they've had a lot of success against Houston in the Patrick Mahomes era. They're 5-1, including a couple of playoff wins. So, you know, let's see if I'm not being wrong because of that.
It's funny. Like, here's gambling, Matt, for you.
Okay.
We've done this so many fucking times where it's like the Chiefs lose and then they're at home and then they're a favorite, you know, and they're a 3.5 point favorite in this one. And it's just like, I've looked at these lines, you know, there are a couple of times where I'm like, I wouldn't, like, if it was anybody else, they wouldn't be a favorite. You know?
Bingo.
I'm like, if it wasn't because Mahomes won all these close games and they went to the Super Bowls and all, if they were just a blank team, they would, you know, be less of a favorite or an underdog.
But that's the thing. There's no way in hell they're going to make Houston the favorite because then all the money would come in on the Chiefs and they could take a bath.
Exactly. But it's just like, you know, that when they make these lines, sometimes it's like, are you making this line off of now? Are you making it off of, you know, what has been occurring over the last couple of weeks? Or are you making this line off of the merit that the Chiefs have built up over the last couple of years? And so I think that is the theme, though, of this really entire season when it comes to the Chiefs, where it's almost as if we're not believing what we're seeing because there has been so much merit that has been proven the last couple of years that we're like,
afraid to pick against them and be wrong.
I disagree with that. I think people just can't believe what's happening. Like, I don't think people are just gripping with the fact that, like, this team who made the Super Bowl last year, who made it 3 times in a row, who was the closest anyone has ever been to winning 3 Super Bowls in a row, has just fallen off of a cliff the way that they have. Because it's not as if they've come in and they're like getting their asses kicked or they're getting blown out and they're terrible. They were the close win team. They were the one possession team. And now they've lost 6 games by 1 possession. And it doesn't make any sense. And also, too, we have been sitting up here. I mean, like the talking heads, the people who get paid way too much money to cover the sport, have been flirting with the Chiefs win, but Mahomes hasn't put up the best stats. You know, is he real? Josh Allen's better than him. Lamar Jackson's better than him. And there have been people like me who I'm like, you dumbasses, okay? They are like Patrick Mahomes is playing the way that he plays because that wins them football games, right? Like he plays the way that gets them the win. And so he could have all the stats and be really good and have the yards and have the touchdowns and all that shit. But would they win in the same way? I don't know. They're winning now, so it doesn't matter. Well, those asshats have gotten their question answered because Patrick Mahomes is 2nd in the league in QBR. Okay? Patrick Mahomes is 4th in the lead in passing yards. Patrick Mahomes has had his best statistical season since his MVP year, and you go ahead and you look at the EPA for the Kansas City Chiefs, they're 2nd in the league. But they're losing football games, okay? Games. So none of that shit mattered. What mattered was the fact that they had a stalwart defensive line, and then they had playmakers in the secondary. And that has just not been the case this year. They are 20th in EPA per play on defense this year. Steve Spagnuolo and this defense has been the anchor of the Kansas City dynasty, and they just have not played to the same level this season, and which is why they are losing close games. It's easy to win close games when your defense is only giving up 21 points. The defense is not playing as well as they are accustomed to. So there you go.
Jim and
There's
O'Neill.
my Chiefs rant.
Well, first of all, Matt says Matt has a very anti-media stance. Yeah, you sound like John Bishop for a moment there, Mr. McMaster.
Well, I mean, there are some, yeah. I mean, and also, I mean, comes a little bit out of jealousy, you know.
I was going to say, how much of this is their paychecks are a little bit nicer than yours?
Yeah, and they're some of them are idiots. Some of them.
Nice.
Some of them
Jim
are
O'Neill hits on the thing I was going to get to. He says, this season will probably be a blessing in disguise for KC. They will have to make big changes along the lines. It will be a good thing. I could not agree with Jim more. Like, the one of the worst things I think that can happen, and maybe in a way, Matt, this goes back to some of our discussion about Pittsburgh in particular, but when you are able to have, like, this base level of success, I think you can rest on your laurels. And look, the Chiefs made 3 Super Bowls in a row. Like, let's not pretend that they were going 9-8, and so they were doing just enough to be good. But this is a team that the last few years have had some flaws, and the greatest quarterback in the NFL was able to help overcome a lot of those flaws. And so they were able to win a lot of games. They were able to go on deep runs. They were able to make it to 3 straight Super Bowls and a myriad of AFC championship games in a row. They won a couple Super Bowls. And then they get absolutely smoked by the Eagles. And I remember last year watching that game thinking, this is who I thought Kansas City was for the last 2 months. For whatever reason, it just never showed itself. They were able to overcome all of these opponents and get all of these wins. Then this year, the ball starts to bounce a little bit differently, right? Travis Kelce drops a sure touchdown or first and goal at the very least against the Eagles, results in an interception. And that was the second game of the year. And it's just been like that all season long. It's a blessing in disguise if they don't make the playoffs, because then you look and say, what are the issues we have? What are the problems we have? Let's fix those problems so we don't do it again. I think that this is going to light a fire under the franchise's ass, and I would be very concerned if I was an AFC fan for next year. Plus, as Jim pointed out, they could play a third-place schedule next year, which would also be really, really nice for them. Really, really nice for them.
So, you know, and also, too, like, I'll never forget that first game of the year. People forget that first game against the Chargers. They lost that game. They lost that game because they were just not ready. They were just ass. Yeah. They were dropping passes, and they just were bad. And then you go to the Philadelphia game. Like, if the tush push is probably handled correctly, they might end up winning that game. But then it's the Jacksonville game that always gets
Jacksonville is the one.
Because it's just like
they're first and goal, and they throw the pick six.
There you go. When was the last time he threw a back-breaking turnover? Like they just don't. They don't have that, you know. And I've always thought, and I'm still going to think this way. I don't care that this season hasn't changed my opinion. The whole, well, you know, they're this record in close games. You know, they're winning a bunch of close games. That can't go on. I've always thought that teams that win close games, that's part of their identity. You know, like if you're good at winning close games, you're good at winning close games. And I never really fully believed in regression. I just think, you know, regression exists. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, but I don't buy it as it's going to be like the Bible. And I think, and I'm not saying you have, but I think people have tried to. Well, I believe in it, but I think that people have tried to pin a Kansas City having a bad year, being like, this can't go on for much longer. And, you know, it has, and it did until this year. And I don't know if it's so much of regression as if I just don't think they're as good as what they've been. I think they're just a year older, and I think
they are not as good as what that is honestly what this is all about. They're just not as good as they were.
I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily like a whole regression thing and a math thing, and like I just think it's just like Travis Kelce's old, Chris Jones is a little older. You know, George Karlaftis has not played to the level that he's getting paid at. They've had these guys in the secondary who have been awesome the last couple of years, but they can't pay them because they're paying everybody else. So they let them go to Tennessee or they let them move on. And it's just like they haven't been able to replace them. Now, granted, they're still giving up like 20 points per game, you know, but it just hasn't been able to come together the way that it's been coming together over the last couple of years. And that's going to happen. And I agree with you. I think that them missing the playoffs this year will probably give them a kick in the ass that they need. They also, I want to throw this out.
Yeah.
You know, Drew Brees and Sean Payton, you know, one of the best quarterback coaching duos ever. Okay.
Sure.
Like in terms of how many games they won and how successful they were. You know, they only won one Super Bowl, but still.
Super Bowl, yeah.
They had like 3 seasons where they were just like 8-8. They were just average.
Yep.
You know, they were just an average team, and they were just kind of an average team just because, you know, they had Peyton and they had Breeze. But during the time, they got higher draft picks. You know, they were able to save some money, and they went ahead and they cashed in on those draft picks and they cashed in on that money, and then they had a great last run between Breeze and Peyton. Like, and went ahead and won playoff games and went to the NFC Championship game. Probably should have, you know, went to a Super Bowl. Like they played in some really. That's funny. Your dog is howling in the background.
There's sirens going outside. He has a lot of takes about the Sean Payton, Drew Brees era.
Dude, he does. And so it's like they were able to have that last hurrah, that like last big run. I don't, Mr. Banks.
Where is he at? What in the world? He's over there somewhere. No, you can't see him. Oh well.
And I'm not saying here, Josh, that the Chiefs are going to go 3 years of being average, but you know they could go 2, and they could have like a top 20 pick for the first time, and go ahead and get another Chris Jones, and go ahead and get another Travis Kelce, and go ahead and kind of reload. Like Patrick Mahomes, he's always been made for the long haul, and there always has to be life without Chris Jones and Travis Kelce. This might be the beginning of it. This might be the transition of like the new era. Because if Patrick Mahomes is going to win another Super Bowl, there's probably a guy playing high school football that's going to be his best wide receiver, you know, right now.
Yeah.
Like that's just kind of how this crap works, right? So this could be kind of the weird, hey, you spend a lot of money, you're paying a lot of old guys, you've won a lot of games. This could be their weird in-between transition years. And they'll never be 4-13. Because Reed and Mahomes just won't allow that to happen, but they could end up being 9-8.
Yeah.
So there.
Let's get to the Monday Nighter. Oh, it's all good. Let's get to the Monday Nighter before we get to the biggest game of the week, which is the Bears at the Packers. So, my wife, she says, please discuss the positivity bunny when and if you do the Eagles game. Well, it's time now, babes. We're doing Eagles Chargers. Have you seen this? I had not heard about this at all. She sent in a tweet to the chat from Ashlyn Sullivan, who covers the Eagles for NBC Sports Philadelphia. I will just read you the tweet. The Eagles have installed the positivity rabbit into the locker room. It showed up today. This was yesterday. And the offensive line stressed to me, they are not sad. They just wanted a good vibes bunny. And it's this, I mean, it's a monstrosity. If I saw it across the street in the front yard of my neighbors, I would think this is trashy as hell. It says Happy Easter. It doesn't even say anything about Christmas. They have this in their locker room. The first response was pretty funny. It says Cowboys winning the East. From your lips to God's ears, Mr. Daily Roman updates Twitter account. This team, we talk about them all the time. You and I do. They're just so messy. They're so messy. Like they're 8-4. They're fine. They're gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna win the NFC East. They're gonna be fine. That said, they did look horrible against your team. Your team ran for 1,000,000 yards on them. And yikes, some of the throws that Jalen Hurts had in that game, not great. That one, the one behind Devontae Smith, I know everyone was like, oh, he should have thrown it to Goddard. There was a pass rush. He had to get it out as fast as possible. The problem was that he didn't lead Smith, because Smith would have caught that and probably scored a touchdown. But either way, what a great Black Friday for you. That said, like, look, we talked about Steelers earlier. Aaron Rodgers, I don't think we even mentioned his wrist and how he's wearing the cast. We saw that against Buffalo last week and how big of a problem it was. I'm very concerned that it's going to be a massive issue tomorrow night for Mr. Herbert playing with that cast around his or whatever you want to call it, around his left wrist. You don't think so?
No, I agree. Bad takes Matt here. I'm not a big fan, especially at the quarterback position, of just rushing guys back.
Yes, like, we saw with Mateer at Oklahoma this season.
Exactly. Like, just he's your franchise. He's your quarterback. Like, I understand you got to win the game. This is important, but like, don't expose him. Don't put him in a bad situation. Don't try. I don't know. This is why you put a lot of money into the backup quarterback. This is why you have contingency plans. This is what you prepare for. I don't know. I always get nervous, especially with these hand injuries, right? Because it's just like, they're not a big deal, right? It's not your knee, and it's not your neck, and it's not your back. And so you're like, all right, you're going to be fine. It's a quick surgery or whatever. But like, you need your hands to play quarterback. I don't know if you know that. Okay. And
Hot take alert.
Just like, yeah. And so like, it's one of those things where it's still hard, man. Like don't put him in a very precarious situation, potentially get hurt or lose his confidence or just get exposed or like stuff like that. So I don't know. I always worry when that stuff happens. I don't know. I love the positivity rabbit. It's one of those just like bullshit, funny guy things that they do. I think it's funny. I think it's great. I know. I think that's why it makes it so great. I think that's why it's awesome because it's just like a bunch of grown. Look, the NFL, every NFL roster is 53 of just like our species is like most nastiest, greatest, tallest, toughest, biggest, strongest athletes. Okay, these are. When we talk about peak male physique, we talk about like football players. Like they are insane. Football players are crazy. To be in the NFL, you're like a different type of human when it comes to athletics. The fact that these warriors, these athletes, these insane, these gladiators are like, we're gonna put a blow up rabbit in the locker room and pet it, because it's gonna make us happier, and maybe I could hit the shit out of Justin Herbert a little bit more because we got a rabbit in the locker room. Is fucking awesome. It's so sick. It's great. I enjoy it. Yeah.
It's a great reminder to me as someone now there's not very many NFL players in the league anymore that are older than I am. It is a reminder that it is a bunch of people that are your age. And it's like, yep, we're all dipshits when we're 23. Like, of course they need a blow up rabbit in the locker room to help them. Because when I was 23, I needed dumb shit to help me too,
Jordan, why do we have a rabbit in the locker room, man? Vibes. Vibes. Let's do it. Like that's what it is. That is the exact conversation that happened.
By the way, I love this earlier from Alex. Get Banks a segment to which Matt says humps and howls. Humps equals things that are good. Howls equals things that are bad. Coming soon to the I-80 Club, we'll get the Banks tier, and he can give us humps and howls each and every week, the things that he enjoys and the things that he does not.
You can do the whole like Mina Kimes bit where she like
woofs and winners and woofs.
Well, I didn't know she did that. She just likes.
She does that on the Tuesday Monday Night Recap. She does winners and woofs with Dominique Foxworth.
I love Dominique Foxworth.
It's a great podcast.
What I was going to say though is that like I hate the Instagram people who like expose their dog to be influencers, but I love people who like just like their dogs, like you, and like Mina. Like Mina just loves her dog. She just talks about her dog incessantly, but she's not allowing the dog.
She's not building a brand. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, everybody loves my dog. Oh, I happen to be hot. Let me start like doing thirst traps with my dog and bringing my dog out in New York.
Should I start doing thirst traps with my dog, Banks?
No, you're not hot enough.
Wow. Tough look for me. So that's our breakdown. Sorry. I don't even know if we really even broke down the game. Eagles, Chargers. Don't know what to expect.
Neither do I. I think both these teams are I think we're both sick and tired of these teams. We're like the Eagles.
I was really excited for the Chargers this year, and they just are blah. They are very blah.
I think the best way to describe the Chargers is that they're just the Chargers. And I think everybody understands what I mean when I say that. I think it's just
they are chargering.
They are chargering. They're kind of there, and they're entertaining. And shocking, breaking news. The San Diego Chargers have a quarterback that's not like in the top 5, but he's like really, really good. And like 1 year, maybe he'll end up like winning an MVP and being the dude. But like, they can never get over the hump. And we all think, the Chargers can do it. But then the Chargers don't do it. And then we sit back and we're like, okay, we'll re-rack the deck. And maybe they'll get like another wide receiver or a different running back and change their OC. And we'll say, all right, the Chargers are going to do it again. And then halfway through the year, we're like, oh, guess they didn't. Moving on. That's what they
sound
do.
Like the Chargers. Also, you called them San Diego, which is great too. Move them back to San Diego.
They're perpetually above average. The San Diego Chargers.
Yeah. All right, so that's that
slightly
game.
Above average.
Let's get to the game of the weekend. The number 1 overall seed in the National Football Conference. Your Chicago Bears going to a very chilly Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. Matt, I'm going to trigger you to start this off. This rivalry is overrated as hell. They never play in games that actually mean anything. It's just a couple of fan bases that hate each other, and these teams have been around for a billion years. But the rivalry, as an outsider, kind of mid. I don't get excited usually. Oh, cool. The Bears are going to play the Packers. What's it going to be? 14-12 again? Can't wait to watch another shit fest. That said, very excited for this one. Rooting on the Bears. Go Bears. I know that as a Cowboys fan, I should be rooting for the Packers. Don't care. Go Bears. Hope you go into Lambeau. Hope the horseshoe is still up your keister. Hope that you take them out. I'm looking forward to this. We talked about regression earlier, Matt. Can the Bears continue getting all these takeaways? By the way, Matt says, I bet you hated the 13-10 Big Ten Conference Championship game last night, right, Josh? That game was awesome. The problem with the Bears and Packers 14-12 games is that it's slop. It's not ever good football. It's sloppy, played on bad turf when it's at your stadium and just, Lambeau Field, which is cold. Anyway, do you think that you can keep up with all these takeaways as the season rolls on?
Are you done? Are you done?
Yeah, that's why I asked you a question. Do you think it can happen?
I'm going to ignore the question.
You're going to ignore the question? It's a good question.
I have to talk. No, because I have to talk about what you just said.
Oh, about the rivalry?
Overrated rivalry. It's not overrated.
Yeah,
it's not overrated. It's properly rated, okay? Like when the last couple of years, whenever we had these talking head discussions about what are the best rivalries, the Packers and Bears are no longer in the top 4. They're no longer in the top 5, right? They're in the top 10.
Never was for me.
They're in the top 10 out of respect, right? But Bob Costas just did. There's this podcast. It's like Mount Rushmore podcast, and it is Mount Rushmore of rivalries. And he went out of his way to be like Bears Packers are not. Okay, I think people have gone ahead, at least from a national perspective, have been out on this rivalry. And why have they been out? Because the Packers have kicked the Bears' ass. That's why. In the last 30 games, the Packers are 26-4. Okay, this is no longer a rivalry because the Bears lose. Not today.
Oh,
not today. Today changed. Do you hear that? Do you feel that? It's the winds.
Is Banks howling again?
It's the winds of change. Okay, Aaron Rodgers is no longer a Packer. Okay, Mike McCarthy is no longer the coach. Okay, this is a new era. This is a new destiny. This is a new beginning for the Chicago Bears. Okay, I can't stress to you how important this game is. The fact that the Bears seemingly finally have a fucking quarterback and seemingly have a competent coach, and this is the moment. You are 9-3. You are at top of the NFC. You are going on the road. You are playing a Packers team that is still good, but still not as dominant as it used to be. Okay? Fuck the Packers. Fuck them. Fuck Lambeau. Fuck Green Bay. Fuck Wisconsin. Okay? Go out there and take it. All right? This is your moment. Go and fucking do it. Just go and win the game. Okay? So we can put a fucking flag in Lambeau Field and be like, we are the guys. We are the team. We are legit. This is our division now. So we can reignite this rivalry. So Packers fans who, honestly, if you were to ask them, would say, the Vikings are a bigger rival than the Bears are because we've been competing with the Vikings at the top of the NFC North. Fuck them, win this game, and go ahead and be like, no, motherfuckers, you got to beat us now. We're at the top here. We got to worry about us. And then when we go ahead and we win this game and we say that, then it'll be a rivalry again. Then you will see what this rivalry can be. Then it'll be back on being in people's top 5s. Then it'll be back on being people's Mount Rushmores. Because when the Bears and Packers were playing competitive football, this thing mattered so much. It doesn't anymore, and it's all the Bears' fault, and it's all the McCaskey's fault, and now they can rewrite some wrongs here, okay? So go ahead and fuck the Packers. Fuck the Packers.
Matt, do you know, first of all, great rant, all-timer. Do you know how bad I feel for you that you will not get to watch this game in the friendly confines of your apartment? That you will be at NRG Media Omaha having to also watch a basketball game while you try to watch your football game because you have to do a post-game show following Nebraska and Creighton. What a day this will be for you.
Joey Colbert was like, if we watch the game together, I wouldn't be overzealous or I wouldn't be hard to watch with. And I looked at Joey straight in the face and go, I'm not watching it outside because of you. I'm watching it outside because of me. All right. Like you don't. And by the way, first off, I fucking hate the Lions too because all the fans are like, oh, this is their Super Bowl. This is like that. You know, the Lions fans suck. But
Yeah, I hate them too.
know,
Screw those guys.
People are like, wow, this is the Bears Super Bowl. Well, then the Bears have won 4 Super Bowls this year. Okay. And you know what? Ring me. Put them on my fingers. Okay. Because everybody says, oh, this is their Super Bowl. Oh, this is their biggest game. Yeah, we win them. All right. So if that's the excuse you want to use when the Bears beat you is because the game was so much bigger for them than it was for you, then maybe make the games bigger. Okay. Maybe, you know, like maybe make them a little bit more important because the Bear, man, I'm not selling you anything like, oh, the Bears are great. The Bears are going to win the Super Bowl. No, stop it. I'm not saying any of that stuff. But what I'm telling you is that this rivalry has meant has been fractions of what it can be because of the Bears' incompetence over the last 15 years. This is finally the moment where the Bears have the team, the Bears have the momentum, the Bears have the quarterback, the Bears have the coach. This is perfect that it's in Lambeau because I feel like Lambeau is such an overrated home field advantage. Whoa. Go out there, win this game, and be like, no, motherfuckers, we're here, we're legit, we're the dudes. And then I want this rivalry to matter so much. I do. Because it's like, I feel like I just hate the Packers because I have to hate the Packers. But there hasn't been any substance. This is the substitute.
You want this to be the 2004 Red Sox. You want them to turn the tide on the rivalry and how people view the rivalry.
Yes. Because we have been a fucking... We've been a tomato. We've been ass.
You are the Bears and you're shuffling through. That's what you want to do. You want to be singing songs.
We are the Bears shuffling through. Shuffling on down. Do it for you. We're so bad. We know we're good. Blowing our minds like we knew we would.
See, isn't it good that we saved this game for the end?
Stop them cold. Part of the defense. Big and bold.
It's good that we saved this game for the end of the pod. I think that we made a great decision. Good luck, Matt, to your Chicago Bears today. Good luck to you on watching that and watching a basketball game and then hosting a post-game show that may or may not be overlapping with the very end of the football game.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
It might be a weird post-game show.
Because you could be in a great mood and Creighton fans could be in a terrible mood.
If the Bears win if they lose on a field goal, Joey's going to have that fucking shit-eating grin that entire time, that entire postgame.
Not what you want, man.
I don't know what's going to stop me from reaching over the desk and slamming his head into the board. I don't
probably getting the threat of getting fired. I think maybe that would be the thing.
I'm making a joke, by the way.
Lose my job. Watch out, Joey. Your head's going to get crushed.
I'm making a joke.
Prince Oberyn in Game of Thrones, you're going to squeeze his head and pop out his eyeballs.
I'm not actually going to hurt Joey, but I will be a little upset. I will be a little mad. It could be a little contentious
triggered
at times.
Yeah, metaphorically, says Matt. Metaphorically, you're going to punch him in the face. Metaphorically.
Yes, I'm not actually going to punch him in the face.
Oh, man.
But,
wow. I'm pumped for you, man. I hope that you have a great day.
This game.
I hope you have a great day in terms of your football rooting interest, and I hope that it goes exactly how you hoped it would. I can't wait. I'm going to be sitting on my couch all day long, and I'm going to be enjoying the football. Another episode of Before the Witching Hour in the books. Shout out Brendan. He says, I'm way behind, but really enjoying the show. Enjoying the show. Brendan, we appreciate you. Thanks for watching. We appreciate everyone who's joined us today for another edition of the Before the Witching Hour. We do this pretty much every Sunday. We're getting closer to the playoffs. Matt and I haven't talked about it, what we're going to do schedule-wise, but I imagine, Matt, as we get into the postseason, we'll probably move these shows to Saturdays so we can preview the entire weekend of games, at least in the first and second round, and then we'll do a conference championship and Super Bowl situation. Probably another three-man pod at some point with you and Shafe and me.
Yes.
Getting ready for the game.
Great.
Oh, yeah. So we'll do all of that and more. As we mentioned, Matt will be doing post-game duties for Blue Jay Overtime today. So if you're listening and you're like, I don't want to hear Jack and Caleb, I want to hear the Creighton side of things. Well, you can check that out tonight on 1620 The Zone. Probably like a 6:45-ish start would be my guess for that show, depending on how long the basketball game goes and then how long the post-game stuff goes for John. 6:30, 6:45.
Well, game starts no, I think it'll be later than that. Game starts at 4.
Yeah.
Right.
You think you'll be on later than that? Usually it's like a 45-minute post game. You think 7?
I think 7.
Okay.
Because I think the game will be like 2 hours. I think the game will be like 2 hours and 20 minutes now.
You think it's going to be 2 hours and 20 minutes?
I think it's going to be a close game.
It's not the NCAA tournament. We're not there yet.
I think
those games are way longer than regular season. All right. So
I think
anyway,
there's going to be a lot of timeouts at the end of the game.
A lot of timeouts. All right. Well, get ready for that. So that'll be on the Zone. We, of course, have you covered with your Nebraska ball content, the Nebraska ball hour tonight with Jack and Caleb. That one will start at some point tonight. Just the YouTube link is created. Go turn on notifications so you don't miss the start of that show when it gets going. Who knows where Jack will be? Caleb will probably be at the arena. So that show will start at some point tonight. Also, a volleyball state tonight. Again, that is for subscribers only. Emily Amon will be on with Jeff Sheldon and Lincoln Arneal, and they will do all sorts of that. Matt says after Nebraska ball or Nebraska ball hour. Did I say after Nebraska ball? It is the Nebraska ball hour, if I misspoke. So that one will start tonight, but it will be after the Nebraska ball game when that one gets going. All right, Matt, this was tremendous. I had a lovely time. Good luck to you today. Enjoy the football. Enjoy working with Joey.
Oh, I'm. It's gonna be fine.
That's why I said enjoy it.
Making jokes. No, I love. It'll be a good post game show, and we will be super professional. I will just. My mood in between breaks will definitely be determined on the outcome of the game.
Oh yeah.
I actually have to post that picture of me and Joey flipping each other off, which is really funny.
All right. Enjoy the ball today, everybody. Thank you for joining us. A like and a subscribe on the way out the door would be much appreciated. And patreon.com/IID Club if you want all that we have to offer. For Matt McMaster, I'm Josh Peterson. We will talk to you next week on Before the Witching Hour. Enjoy the games, everybody. Bye-bye.